Dear all, I hope this video finds you well. We're all in the middle of a challenge, worldwide challenge. It takes time to reflect. This is not a Dakat Torah that we usually do. This will be slightly longer. Take some time to think about the times we're in. A little before Shabbat Zachor, I was headed from New York to LA for a Shabbaton, and instead I got on a plane on Thursday back to Israel. This is about a week and a half later. As things are developing, as we're dealing with our different tochniot, trying to navigate in the unknown, some thoughts are starting to formulate in our minds. And there's many ideas out there. There's many thoughts, but I would like to please share with you things that are formulating in my mind over the last couple of days. Things are happening. There's a song that we love singing on Shabbatonim, Etzlo Shira, and Machanot, and camps. The song of B'Sha'a Shemelech HaMashiach Ba. I would bear you from singing it myself. B'Sha'a Shemelech HaMashiach Ba, I'm sure most of you heard the song at least once in your life. The song goes, B'Sha'a Shemelech HaMashiach Ba. Melech HaMashiach is standing on the roof of Beit HaMikdash and speaking to the Jewish people. And he tells them, Higia Zman Geulatchem, days of redemption has come. And then come words that bother me every time. Ve'im ein atem maminim. And if you don't believe. Melech HaMashiach, on the roof of Beit HaMikdash. Ve'im ein atem maminim. You're not believing? What could be clearer than that? 2,000 years we were in exile. Look at the last 100 years of the Jewish people. It feels like we're almost at the same time where Mashiach is standing on the roof of Beit HaMikdash. And the doubt is still there. We're still trying to convince ourselves and the world. Shehigia Zman Geulatchem. Yet, when we think about it, doubts are still out there. It started from a little over 100 years ago, the doubt to the concept of the Zionist movement. The origins of the doubt comes from a Gemara in Masechet Ketubot that introduces 3 Shvuot from a pasuk in Shir HaShirim, 3 different places. Ishba'ati etchem bnot Yerushalayim. There's a shvu'ah, there's an oath, giving to Bnot Yerushalayim, to Am Yisrael, that we are not allowed to awaken redemption before the time. 2 of them are directed to the Jewish people. 1 of them is directed to the nations. As a result of that, a whole movement started to say that the actions of the Zionist movement is not allowed. It's pushing redemption before the time. We're violating Shloshet HaShvuot, those 3 oaths that we were giving. But the idea behind it is actually profound, something I heard from my own Rashi Yeshiva. Shloshet HaShvuot are 3 oaths who are symbolizing when is time to come back, actually. Because time comes, and we, after 2,000 years, will always say the time is not come, maybe we shouldn't. Shloshet HaShvuot are actually a symbol, a sign for us to know when time has changed. What are the Shvuot? 1, we're not supposed to go up together in a powerful way against the nations. We're not allowed to go Yachad Bi'at Chazakah together. For 2,000 years, we couldn't gather the Jewish people together. It's a sign that when you can't gather and be together and go with force together, it's not going to work. It's not time. came the Zionist movement and gathered most of Am Yisrael to go Yachad Be'ad Chazakah. The second Shvuah says we're not allowed to rebel against the nations, yet the nations gathered together and said the Jewish people need a home. Started yet from the Balfour Declaration, and then just grew and grew till recently, where over 50 leaders in the world arrived representing majority of the world, arrived at the president of Israel's home. It seems like we forgot, but it wasn't long ago, to commemorate the liberation of Auschwitz after 70 years. So if you look at it, it was a sign for us to know when time changes, when we as people are able to connect and to overcome those shvuot, you know time has come. In order not to be in an era of Ein Atem Ma'aminim, like we said in that song just a second ago. There's one area that when we look at it, it seems to us so disconnected from our day-to-day life. We completed Shas, it seems so far ago, just a couple of months ago. There were massive, massive celebrations of Siyum HaShas throughout the world, hundreds of thousands of people. Yet in Shas Bavli, there's one area that really is completely not touched upon. And that is in the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, Seder Teharot. Seder Teharot, speaking about Tumah v'Tahara, when you're pure and when you're not. Other than Masechet Nida, the other 11 Masechtot did not make it into Shas Bavli. It's not there. And it seems so foreign to us. It seems like it's something that we can't relate to and we can't even grasp. What's the ideas? Masechet Kelim, Yadayim, Oktzin, all these different laws of yes, pure, not pure, touching, they were very relevant for the Kohanim. It was very relevant in days when we were living with Beit HaMikdash. Today it seems so disconnected. Yet suddenly, when I opened up Seder Teharot in the Mishnah, which we barely touch, and we start looking at the rules and the laws of Tumah v'Tahara, when you touch something, how far do you need to be from it? When you're coming to get to something, is it the first step, second step? The word quarantine, bidud, came into our life when we look at the halachot of Tumah v'Tahara, not only in Metzorah, but in any element. Suddenly these verbs, these terms, these laws in the Mishnayot, I encourage you to open up Seder Teharot and start suddenly learning. Things become live. Suddenly a whole section that is critical for redemption is becoming relevant, not foreign. What type of fruit? What type of dish? What is tameh? What is tahor? All these elements are becoming so relevant to the days we're in when we're self-quarantined, not quarantined, bidud, not bidud. When elements of Torah become relevant for us, we know we're getting closer. And now we are in a situation that Seder Teharot is becoming relevant. Explains Rav Kook what's the idea behind Seder Teharot. Tumah is something that distances us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tahara is when you come back. Same way, says Rav Kook, when you go to Galut, when we are in exile, it was for a purpose to put us aside and break, to learn how to come back together again. So here I'm taking Rav Kook's idea and going back to the concept of what we're in today. Perhaps we could look back and say Tumah v'Tahara is becoming real, relevant. We could relate to these laws. We could suddenly look inside, learn those Mishnayot. They won't become the last Mishnah we look at when we need to finish Shas. It's live and relevant. And I'll end and say that as this is becoming live and relevant, my most powerful Gemara that I connect to understand the days we're in, to overcome the Im'eina Temaminim, is a Gemara that is open right next to me in Masechet Sanhedrin. Gemara, after there's an argument whether or not redemption is dependent on us doing tshuva, and Rabbi Lezer says yes. And Rabbi Yeshua tells him absolutely not. And ends the Gemara and says, V'shatak Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer was quiet, which may mean he admitted to Rabbi Yeshua. But a second after that, in Masechet Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadichet, we have a statement with a Vav Achibur, Vav that is connecting in the name of Rabbi Abba. Ve'amar Rabbi Abba, ein lecha ketz megule mize. Here is your most powerful proof, says Rabbi Abba, for when you know it's days of redemption. And he brings a pasuk in Yecheskel. Ve'atem Arei Yisrael, anfechem titnu, ufirechem tisu le'ami Yisrael, ki krova Yeshuati lavo. Yecheskel is speaking to the trees in the land of Israel. And he says, start blossoming, start giving fruit. As when that is happening, the Jewish people are coming back. And says Rashi, right over there, says Rashi, Ketz Meguleh, he tells us, שתיתן ארץ ישראל פריה בעין יפה, אז יקרב הקץ, ואין לך קץ מגולה יותר. Says Rashi, you don't have bigger proof than that. Rashi saying that. I'm just quoting. Yoter. You don't have a bigger proof from that than seeing the produce that the land of Israel is giving. Morai v'Rabotai, walk around, which you all did, the stores of Israel, Machne Yehuda. Look at the produce, look at the fruit, look at what is blossoming in this land. Ein lecha ketz megule mize. And I feel, sitting here in a room, not traveling the world, not running around, and looking at how suddenly Seder Taharot is becoming relevant. Seder Taharot that brings us closer to God. How suddenly we need to stop and think on the days we're in and what it's telling us. We're going to look back and all of us say, there's no such thing. Im ein atem maminim. We really, really believe that we are in days of redemption. And we really believe that what we see today, that Eretz Yisrael is producing, is Ha'arat Panim, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling us, I'm ready, I want you back. And what we're going through now, it's hard, it's difficult. The whole world together is dealing with it. Will bring us more tahara, more purity, more kedusha. And with that peace, we would be able to sing B'Yerushalayim Habnuya in Binyan Beit HaMikdash. I wish you all health. I wish you all a tremendous period that will bring growth. And Bezrat Hashem, we should all rejoice together B'Tahara in Yerushalayim B'Mera B'Yameinu. Amen.